James Lynch here for Home of Fight. Always great catching up with Malcolm Wellmaker. He's got a big fight coming up here. UFC 322, MSG, November 15th, but he's got a new opponent. He's now going to be taking on Cody Hatton. Malcolm, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing, man?
I'm doing awesome. I'm not going to be fighting at MSG. That's always a big deal. Before we talk about the opponent, just how excited were you to get on this card? You know, I talked to so many fighters and, you know, they always circle that November date as an event they want to get on, and you got on it. Just tell me how excited you are.
Man, beyond excited. You know, when my manager first told me he was working on it, I was blown away that, you know, he was even thinking that that was a possibility. And, I was out in Vegas not that long ago, and I talked to Sean a couple times, you know, not particularly about the fight, but, you know, he brought it up and said that he was going to see what he could do. And, my hopes started getting high. I started, wishing on a dream, and it came together for me. So massive opportunity. And it's just such a incredible way to finish off the year for me.
Yeah, no, it's great to see, and obviously good sign if the bosses are saying, hey, we're trying to get you on the card. I don't think that happens to a lot of fighters, so that's good. And then I guess the only thing about this fight is supposed to fight Siri City. Now you get Cody Hatton. Were there any other opponents in the mix, or was it just, going from Siri to Cody kind of right away? Like, how did that all come together?
Yeah, as far as I know, those are the only two names that I ever got. I don't know anything that happened on any other end, but the first name that came to me was Sergey, and I said yes. And when that fell through, the next time I talked to my manager, he was like, Cody Hatton, and I was like, let's do it.
Yeah, and much of an adjustment as far as going from Siri to Cody, as far as the game plan and all that stuff. How's that adjustment been?
It's been a little bit different. Obviously, a different game plan, a different approach. But the ultimate goal is the same. We're trying to knock them out.
Yeah, absolutely. And just stylistically, how are you looking at this one between your skill set and his?
I think it's a great fight. I think it's a great match. I think we have similar strengths. And I think that he has a game that will test the things of mine that hasn't been tested yet, or at least he'll attempt to. So we'll see if that's the route that it goes. If it will, I'll be prepared. And if not, if we end up throwing hands, then I think we'll both have a good time.
Was it a bit surprising to get him? I know, again, they needed to get you an opponent, but just I feel like you guys are both fighters that are sort of on the come up. I know you fought a veteran last time, but did that maybe surprise you a little bit? Just because, like I said, like you don't usually see two prospects, so to speak, fight each other like this.
Yeah, that was definitely a little surprising to me. I didn't know what route we'd take. I didn't know if I should expect a higher profile, more challenging name, or if it was going to be somebody else as far as like a vet with more experience in the organization. But definitely was a little bit of a curveball for me. But, if it's what they think is best, my answer is always yes.
Yeah, and obviously keeping active, being on this big card. I mean, there's a lot of pluses to taking a fight like this too, which is great. Take me through camp a bit. Anything different? Who you mainly been working with? Who's helping you get ready for this one?
Yeah, so this is the first camp that I've done where I've had the body testing and the guidelines of the UFC Performance Institute involved. Yeah, so it's been great. I went out to Vegas for a week, and they test absolutely everything about you. They know more than your doctors know about you. So we've taken that information. We've changed my lifting and conditioning program slightly to optimize it for what my body needs. And I'm constantly in communication with the trainers there and the nutritionists there. And I expect it to show in my next fight, the improvements I'm making.
And you kind of feel a little bit like Drago from Rocky when they were doing all the testing. You remember that movie with the...
I know what movie you're talking about. I saw glimpses of it when I was young, but if it's anything like I'm thinking, that's a laboratory they got up there, man. I mean, they hook you up to all types of stuff. The way they talk is like Chinese until they break it down to you. So it's advanced, man. It was more information than I needed.
Did you also get some training out in Vegas as well?
Yeah. I did a little bit of training. I went to Syndicate a little bit, met Merab and all the guys on his team, trained with Andre Philly and them. That was a great experience. And then my manager, Jason House, actually set up some striking classes, and I worked with Elijah Smith and Chaos Williams, and Michael Costa came in to coach us, and it was some great work. Great work.
Is that something you see yourself doing in the future, doing some cross-training down there as well? Just because, I mean, it's great to be in Vegas. You get access to the PI and all that. Is that something you see as like a regular thing for you going forward?
Absolutely. When I'm outside of my camp and locked into my hard structure, I would love to go to these different places, get different looks, work with high level partners, and try to pick up as much game as possible. There was a lot of good things that I learned while I was on the road, and one of the great things I felt was that I had great partners at home. You know, it wasn't like I was experiencing a level that I haven't seen before, but I think that the experience at the high level has built systems that these guys have that I can learn from and bring back home. So great things to learn and bring back to the camp.
Because I was going to say, you're never leaving Atlanta, right? I can't see that.
Nah, I'm gonna stay home. Augusta is where it's at for me.
Yeah, for sure. Your corner, what will that look like? Who will be in the cage with you for this one?
Same exact guys, man. I don't think it's gonna change no time soon. The only time it's gonna change is when I'm a champ and I got 5 corners, and then I can bring my homies. But other than that, it's gonna be the same 3 guys that've been there.
How's this fight playing out on November 15th?
Man. If you gotta ask me, I mean, you know what my answer gonna be. It might be a right hook, it might be a left, but it's gonna be a knockout.
Yeah, for sure. Wouldn't expect anything less. And then you mentioned Merab there. You know, bias aside, I mean, you got to train with him a little bit, but I think most people are kind of leaning this way. What do you make of that title fight with him and Petr Yan? They're rematching. Yan's obviously improved a lot since their first fight, picked up a couple good wins. Merab, though, looks, you know, unstoppable since, you know, especially since winning the title. Who do you got in that one? How do you think that fight plays out? Because that's coming up in December.
Yeah, so I got Merab, and I think what you said is the biggest thing. I think as when he became champion, he just became more confident. He's loving fighting. He's enjoying defending the title. I mean, he just looks more powerful. He looks like he's still improving, and I just don't think Petr Yan is going to be able to stop the run right now.
Henry Cejudo, Payton Talbott, big one in your weight class.
That is an outlandish fight. I cannot believe that got made. Wow, it's an incredible fight. I don't know. I think it depends on what version of Henry we see. If we see, you know, the triple C that, you know, was doing his thing, then I think he definitely beats Payton Talbott. But I mean, if it's the guy that looks like he's about to retire and he's just getting one last fight in to get it, I think Payton Talbott might beat him. If I had to pick one, I'm gonna pick Henry Cejudo.
I think it's a bit of a step up for Talbot because we're only 2 fights removed from him losing to Raoni Barcelos. I know that he got a good win against Andre Lima in his last fight, but you know, this is like the most obvious, like trying to build up another fighter fight, I think. Absolutely. Because, you know, Cejudo, obviously former champion. Talbot, they've been trying to build up a little bit. I mean, if Talbot wins, it's going to be huge for him. But I think that's a pretty big step up because Cejudo's only losing to the best right now, right?
Yeah, when you said a bit of a step up, I was gonna say that's a
major step,
polite way of putting it.
Yeah, let me correct myself. Major step up. Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah,
that's the way to put it, man. That's why I said it's so crazy. You know, I definitely was expecting him to get a ranked guy soon, but again, like you said, Henry Cejudo is triple C. You know, and the nuance I think is that he's a true 25er and he's about to retire. And those are the things working in Payton Talbot's favor. But again, man, world class in everything that he does. So we'll see what happens. But, you know, again, if he wins, man, he's going to shake up the world.
Yeah, I just think, too, like you look at Cejudo's last fight with Song Yadong, it ended in that eye poke, but I thought that fight was fairly competitive, like leading into that. Absolutely. Like, I know people said Song was up, but I don't think it was like Henry didn't look like he belonged there. And if you're still getting it done against a guy like Song Yadong, you have to think that he's still at that level, being pretty close. I mean, this is a guy that, you know, had a close fight with Merab. He's had a close fight with Sterling. Like, he's been in there with a lot since coming back, some of the top talent. So I just thought that was an interesting matchup for your division for sure. It shakes things up a little bit.
Interesting is an understatement. I cannot wait to see what happens. I'm excited to watch it.
Back to your fight. We mentioned it there. Like, Haddon's also an up-and-comer like you are. I know you've only had a couple UFC fights, but you got to think another finish. That's got to get like a bigger name because I know people could be talking about you and O'Malley and all this different stuff, but like I do feel like, you know, the way things are going, like the UFC likes, you know, quick finishes. We've seen guys that get, you know, impressive finishes over maybe, you know, not so notable competition, but they seem to accelerate those guys a little bit as far as their careers goes. Not looking past obviously Hatton, but that's something I'm sure you're aware of.
Of course. Yeah. I just talked about this, but you know, I have this constant battle within myself where I get an opportunity like this and I think, man, I don't know if I've done enough to get this. And then, you know, I have this other side of me that's like, you damn sure did. You know, you knocked all those guys out in the first round in violent fashion. You know, you said the right things, you did the right things. So I definitely understand that the UFC likes these kind of fighters like myself, likes these kind of finishes like I give. So I understand why I'm in the position I'm in. And that only makes me want to continue to do what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you can only fight who you're given, so to speak. So it'll be interesting to see how things sort of go there as well. I'm sure you caught a little bit of the Vancouver card last week. A guy that I know is with your management group had a pretty close fight with Ayman Zahabi. What did you make of that fight? That's in your weight class. Some people felt it should have gone the other way. What was sort of your take on that fight? Very, very close one in Vancouver.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Very, very close. And anytime it's very close, I mean, we all know there's no telling what the judges are seeing and which way it'll go. I love Chito Vera and I wanted him to win. And I hate that he didn't, but I also could see it going either way. So heartbreaking to see him lose. But it just kind of comes with, going to the scorecards in a close fight.
Yeah, and especially in Canada as well. I mean, the crowd, I think, does play a role in those things. That's something to always sort of consider as well. Although there were fans chanting Chito in the fight. I was cage side for that one because I lived here.
It was cool. And it was a great fight. Yeah. It was a great fight. And I was glad to see Chito come back and have a little bit of a fire about himself after, the most recent fights he's had. But it is what it is. I don't think his stock went down after that fight.
No, I completely agree with that. And then what did you make of this? I don't know if you caught the fight, the Kyle Nelson, Matt Frevola fight. Looked like Kyle beat Matt in the first round, and then they just sort of were like, no, the bell rang, like we're going to the second round. Like, I've never seen anything like that before. What was your take on that? Because that was that looked to me like a first round finish.
Yeah, I didn't get to see it, but I heard the controversy about it. But if it's that controversial, man, that ref is probably gonna have a hard time moving forward. So I have to go back and check it out.
I
have to go back and check it out.
And then just quickly, the main event, obviously big win by Brendan Allen. A lot of people were counting him out. He goes out there, and Reinhard Ritter not able to come out for the fifth round. It was his coach's call. What did you make of that whole fight? Because it looked like De Ritter was going to finish him early, and then Allen survives, and then he ends up turning the tables.
You know what's crazy to me is if I look back at De Ritter, when he beat Bo Nickel, I feel like he beat Bo Nickel by being a dog. Like he made it a dirty fight and he shined there. And then when you look at the fight with Brendan Allen, he lost because Brendan Allen was the dog. Like it was like he didn't shine in the dog fight. Obviously he was on bottom and taking a lot more damage, so it was a one-sided dog fight somewhat. But again, in the first round, I mean, he did a lot of damage. So I don't know. I know he came out and said he was dealing with something throughout the course of fight week. I don't really know what happened. But man, big kudos to Brendan Allen. I think it was fairly short notice that he took the fight.
Yeah, it was.
And he went in there. Yeah, he made it dirty and he succeeded in a place where everybody thought, De Ritter was going to be successful on the ground. So great performance by him, and I hope that his career pushes because of it.
Are you staying in New York a little bit later, going to check out anything after the fight, or are you heading right back home after the event?
I'm going home after the event, but I'm getting there a little bit early. So instead of going Tuesday, I'm gonna get there Monday, and me and my family gonna spend the whole week in New York and try to sightsee a little bit. So as long as I get some pizza before
That's what I was
leave,
just gonna say. You got to get some pizza before you go. That's like the big thing, right? So,
bro, I'm notorious for after my fights, I just like do a pizza party. So like I tell whoever came to see me, like meet us at the hotel or wherever we going, and I just get a ton of pizza. And with it being in New York, it's gonna be a special one. So I'm gonna try to get a lot of pizza, the best pizza in the world, and meet up with the people that came to see me.
Did Jason set anything up yet? Usually he's the recommended, restaurant recommended guy or whatever. Did he already pick out a spot for you yet or no?
Not yet, but they work fast. The second that they hear that that's what I want, man, they'll have it right there at the door. It's no problem.
There you go. Shout out to Iridium. Malcolm, thanks for doing this, man. Really excited for this one. UFC 322, November 15th. Anyone you want to thank before we get out of here? Any sponsors, any social media you want to mention? I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, the biggest, man, I just want to say thank you to my management, man. They've done some great things with me in my career so far. Thank you to Sean Shelby, UFC. Obviously, they've been doing a lot, man. And I'll keep it short, but it's crazy to me. I mean, I always hear these narratives about the UFC being like evil and the way they treat the fighters. I've had such an incredible experience, and I'm sure maybe mine is a special experience, but every time I go to Vegas, every time I'm at a fight night, whether I'm a guest athlete or competing, man, everybody in this organization is so sweet. They've been so good to me. They've been good to the people I brought around them. So shout out to the UFC and all the people in it. They've become friends of mine. Yeah, man, and shout out to all the people rooting for me, man. New York is a big step up for us, and I plan on going out there and putting on another show.
And do have to quickly mention our mutual friend Dan Levy, who's been I've heard about you for so many years because of him. He was hyping you up big time, and it's cool to just see it all kind of come to fruition and everything. So shout out to Dan because he had an eye for talent back, a couple of years back. I remember hearing about you, so it's cool to see it all kind of work out.
Dan is gifted because Dan called me a talent when I was like kickboxing with a year's experience.
Yeah.
So I don't know how or what he saw in me, but he saw it before I saw it in myself. And to this day, he still will go to war with anybody that thinks otherwise about me. So
yeah,
huge love for that guy.
Yeah,
Huge
at Best Fight Picks on Twitter. You can check him out there, Half the Battle.